Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Savvy Seniors. I'm Alicia Crastle, and our entire team, thank you, and our educational partners, thank you for being here today. Before we get started, who's here for the first time? Who's never been here before? Raise your hand. Oh, look at that. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming. We're glad you're here. Doug told you where the restrooms are. It's right over here. We do have coffee and cookies out here for you. So if you need to get up and go, just go ahead. We would like to thank Claire Senior Advisors for bringing the refreshments today. And make sure you stop by and thank them and check out their table and see what they do today. On your table, you are going to find an evaluation sheet. I'd like you to take that out. Instead of waiting until the end, we want you to get prepared because some of them don't get filled out, and those are really important to us. So go ahead and fill that out. Even if you registered, go ahead and fill it out with your name. And if you've had a change of address, make sure you note that on there so we can get that on there. And during the seminar, you might want to just take notes, and if you have some questions on there, you can put those on there. And we do have the Savvy Senior Radio, and it is on KFOR every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. You can go to nesavvysenior.com, our website, and you can actually listen to the different radio programs on there as well, anytime you want, anytime at all. But I have a section on my radio show, and it's called Ask Alicia. I want you guys to send me some really good questions that I can ask on air, okay? So try to stump me. I love to learn, so I love to research it and finding the answers to your questions. And then during the seminar, something might spark your interest in something that you might have a need for or a question about. So make sure you put that on that evaluation. We really, truly do appreciate your feedback. This helps us make our seminars more catered to what you need and to help you and figure out what it is that we need to help you with. And most of you know, our mission here at Savvy Seniors is to educate, equip, and empower you to live your best lives. And I am a firm believer that every day there is something to learn. And that's why you're all here, because you're all lifelong learners. And we want you to have the best life possible and be able to make informed, good decisions and live your life in meaningful ways. So, this seminar today is called Travel. Wanderlust and Wisdom, Travel Tips and Adventures for the Young at Heart. And I think that's what we all are here today. We are still young at heart. We are not too old to travel, are we? And travel means something different for each one of us. And for some, you have that trip that's on your bucket list, or a trip you've dreamed about for years for taking. It might be visiting your grandkids, or just exploring a new city, or taking a cruise, or even just getting away for a few days with your girlfriends or friends. But as we age, travel does bring new questions, doesn't it? How do we stay safe? How do we physically prepare? And about medications, and our finances, and our mobility, and our concerns about travel. And travel scams, that can be a big one too. We don't want to be afraid to travel because we're afraid it might be a scam, because there's a lot of them out there, and we're going to touch on that, aren't we? And just planning for the unexpected, that's what we're going to do today. So we've assembled a wonderful panel to help you with, and some experts who are going to share their wisdom and knowledge, experience, and some practical tips for you to travel smarter and safer with more confidence. And as always, our goal is not to sell you anything. Our goal is to provide information, resources, and connections that can help you make those informed decisions for yourself and your family. So sit back, get your evaluation out, and get your takeaway notes, because that's what you're going to take away at home, things to remember. And make sure you ask questions. We will have a question and answer period towards the end. So if you have questions, just jot them down there so you don't forget. Because if you're like me, I forget like 2 minutes later. So, we have a great panel today. We have Chloe Oxford with Dream Destinations.
Oxford Great Escapes.
Oxford Great Escapes, okay. And we have Karen Drivo, who's a seasoned traveler. And we have Justin Yost, and he is a care manager for CareTech, and he has some information about traveling and keeping safe and physically sound. And then we have Tristan Thompson, he's from ArcBelt, financial strategist, and they are going to have some tips for the financial side of traveling. So we're just going to dig in and get started. Are you guys ready? Yeah? Are you sure? I didn't hear that very well. Yeah? Okay, let's get started. Okay.
The question is already ready.
Yeah, so we got a microphone, and you're going to be able to pass the microphone. it's a good thing you got it, because I'm gonna ask you the question first, Chloe.
Oh, okay.
But first, I want you guys to just take a minute and introduce yourself and tell them exactly what you do and kind of go into that a little bit more.
Well, I am Chloe Oxford with Oxford Great Escapes Free Vacations. She was getting me in, but not the first part. Anyway, I have actually been in travel one way or another pretty much my entire life. I started out we lived on a campground, so I got to meet people from all over the world. We lived an hour from West Yellowstone, south of there, and about an hour west of Jackson Hole. So people would come from all over the world, literally, and stay in our campground. And we were like the base, and then we'd go do their day trips from there. So it was really exciting because I really got to start learning about it then. And then throughout my life, I had the opportunity with my job to be able to travel a lot. I had thought about being a travel agent when I was in my 20s. At that time, we found out my son was mentally handicapped. We didn't know what that looked like, so I kind of put that aside. And 40 years later, I took it up again. So it's never too late to live your dream, right? But anyway, just recently in the last year and a half or so, I've really switched my focus to senior travel, and that came about because of my husband, who has had a stroke and a couple heart attacks, and is right now in rehab from a broken hip. So our travel looks so much different than it did even 5 years ago. And so I realized there's a whole bunch of people out there that are like this, that still want to travel, and it just looks different now. And so that's how I kind of got into going this way, so.
Hi, I'm Karen Drebo, and I love to travel. Just ask my husband, I'm never home. So right now I'm kind of in the go-go phase, I'm doing as much active travel as I can, hiking, biking, doing all that stuff. And so I'm enjoying that, and I'm just going on as many trips as I can. I do camping in the desert. Brenda's back there. Make sure you mention Burning Man, which I'm sure you don't know what it is, but it's so awesome. So anyway, so I travel as much as I can, and overseas in the US, and so I don't know that I have any expertise, but I'm willing to share what I do know with you guys. So.
Hello, I'm Justin. I work with CareTech. So CareTech, we help out with at-home non-medical care services. So we do any age across the whole state of Nebraska. So kind of what I do is I'm the community liaison for Southeast Nebraska. So we work a lot with like state programs like Medicaid and other like VA programs. So a lot of what I do is I help people apply for those because it can be pretty confusing. So I'll do like the home assessments. I'll meet with individuals to help them apply, fill it out, and then drop it off to the state building for them. So we just try to be a helpful resource for any individual, just so they can live independently at home for as long as possible. So.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tristan Toms. I'm an investment advisor with Heartfelt Wealth Strategies. We are a private investment firm out of Omaha, and really at the end of the day, we like to make things simple. We invest in individual stocks, tax-free bonds, real estate, and some money market. And I'm gonna go up here today and hopefully be able to help you guys out and look at different strategies that you can help plan for retirement in general. But yeah, that's us.
Okay, we're gonna get started with our questions then, Chloe. So Chloe, what are some of the biggest trends that you're seeing right now with people over 50 that are traveling?
Ironically, one of the biggest one is solo travel, which you touched on. I think what happens is people kind of get to the point they're 50 and you've been waiting for your friends or your family or somebody to go with you to go do some of these things while you still can. And they're finally saying, heck with it, I'm going by myself. And they've been doing it, I can't believe how much more of that I'm doing. It's just becoming more and more. And what's cool is that a lot of them are doing it like just what I call a la carte, where they're freestyling it through Europe. It doesn't matter, you just say, I just want to go these places, and they really go on their own. More popular is putting them in guided tours or on river cruises, where there's a kind of a community, but they're still on their own if they want to be. And so that really is the biggest trend I'm seeing right now, is that finally we're just saying it doesn't matter. And I have people going that are, their 70s and 80s, and they're doing solo travel, which is fabulous.
Well, Karen, you have a great passion for traveling. What made you fall in love with traveling? What made you get the bug?
I guess I just want to see and do everything. Curiosity. I mean, seeing how people in different countries live, seeing just the beauty of nature in Utah and just wonderful, wonderful things out there. So every time somebody says that they've gone somewhere, I have to add that to my list. So my list is getting longer instead of shorter, but there's just so many wonderful opportunities out there. And you know, we get old when we don't do things that scare us anymore. I mean, not crazy, ridiculous, but something that you need to get out of your comfort zone. I think it keeps us young when we do stuff.
Okay, well, Justin, what are some health or safety concerns that mature travelers should think about before they book a trip?
I think the first thing is just kind of being realistic with your situation, just kind of understanding your current health, mobility level, just because some trips might demand more or less. So I think it's just being more realistic before planning anything. And then I would just consider how much physical activity the trip will involve. So that could be standing for long periods of time or walking. So I think it's just good to plan rest during your trips that you might not think about. And then I think the third thing would just be the weather. So like you go to Florida, it's gonna be very humid, so making sure that you're preparing for that, whatever that might look like, or if you go somewhere that might be colder. So I think it's just being more aware of the weather that those destinations would involve.
Okay, and Tristan, when people think about retirement planning, they often focus on saving money. Why is it also important to plan for expenses and enjoyment during retirement?
I think this is very important. While having a strong financial foundation is very essential, it's equally important to plan for experiences, relationships, and activities, you know, that will bring purpose and fulfillment to you guys during retirement. Many people spend decades focused on their careers and financial responsibilities, only to discover that retirement requires a complete different type of preparation. And ultimately, success in retirement isn't measured solely by account balances. It's gonna be measured by the quality of life that those resources have helped build. And it's time for you guys to enjoy those.
Okay, Chloe, I'm gonna ask you one again. So, you have a lot of different options. There's a lot of trips. There's so many places that we could go. We probably couldn't go to all of them, but maybe Karen can, I don't know. But, she's gonna try. What types of trips seem to be best for people who want less stress and more convenience?
For the less stress and more convenience are, of course, the guided tours and cruises. And the reason that the guided tours offer that is when you get into the right guided tour, you know, whether it's going in the US or Ireland or whatever, what happens is we make sure we put you in tours that they take care of all of your luggage, they take care of all that stuff, and they take care of the tour, so you can just go and enjoy all the pieces without worrying about, oh, I gotta get my bag downstairs to the charter bus, or I gotta carry it up to the the room. They take care of all those things. So the guided tours really take a lot of they take care of that concierge piece for you. And then of course on a cruise, there's two types of cruises. There's your ocean cruises and your river cruises. And I always like to say ocean cruises take you to countries, river cruises take you through them. But they have something that's the same on both, and that is you unpack one time, and you don't have to repack and you just unpack one time, and your hotel moves you from place to place to go enjoy it. And it's nice, you've got your ports of call, but then there's also activities on board, whether sometimes they have, depending on what type of cruise you're on, they have seminars, they have shows, they have all kinds of different activities on board, so you can enjoy stuff when you're out to sea or just doing the river cruise day. And so I would say those are the two number ones for the least amount of stress and just be able to enjoy it and not have to worry about it, all the little tiny details.
Well, Karen, I'm sure, well, maybe not you, but I know I make a lot of mistakes in life. So I'm just wondering about mistakes you might have made from traveling that has taught you things early on about traveling, and do you have any important lessons about that you can share?
Well, definitely my biggest problem is overpacking. I pack and then I think, oh, I might need that, and I throw it in. oh, I might need that, and I throw it in. And then I'm lugging all that junk all over the place. I don't even wear all the clothes. So I'm working on a system, still in progress, but doing things like just really lightweight wool shirts that you can wear over and over. I always bring my hanger and clothespins to do laundry, so I'm not packing as much, so I do laundry in the hotel room, and then that way I can just not have to lug everything around. That's probably my biggest issue was, and I still is, overpacking.
Well, that's a great tip. I never thought about bringing clothespins. That is a great tip. Yeah. Well, Justin, what are some simple things that travelers can do before leaving home to avoid any kind of medical emergencies while they're away?
First thing I can think of is just if you need to schedule an appointment with your primary doctor beforehand, just so he can give him or her can give you the go ahead for traveling, making sure that you are good to go. And then I would just, if you are taking medications, I would just pack enough, if not a little extra, just in case there are delays with flights or anything like that. So just making sure that you're over prepared. It's better safe to be sorry. So, and then I was just making sure that your emergency contacts are easy to access. So making sure that your devices are fully charged, because and I would bring a portable charger if possible, just because you would hate to have your phone die and then you have no one to contact. So just making sure that everything's easy to access.
Okay. Well, Tristan, how do you actually determine whether or not you can realistically fit retirement into your budget?
All right, this is gonna get a little repetitive for me today. It's gonna be planning. I mean, rather than viewing travel as an isolated expense, you should be incorporating this into your retirement plan overall. I mean, we like to encourage clients to stress test different strategies to see how they might play out over the long run, to make sure that your investments are in liquid places so that you can utilize them when needed and are not paying penalties unnecessarily. But the big thing that you're gonna hear me say again, over and over again today, is plan for them. It's very important.
Yeah, have a plan. Well, Chloe, I'm sure you've seen lots of changes in travel over the years since you've been doing this for a while, interested in this industry. So how has group travel changed through the years, and why are more people choosing that now?
Well, one thing first, excuse me, is that group travel is more readily available. It wasn't, even 20 years ago, you'd have some stuff, but it was very pocket. And it was like, oh, you can only do it if you're going to this location, or only do it if you're going to this location. It's much more accessible. So that is one of the big changes as I've seen, is there's more options available, and more options not just in the US, but all around the world. And excuse me, they've also realized that there are people that want to do solo travel, so they've started creating what they call single supplements. And then they also really have a lot of times different levels for different budgets, realizing that not everybody can travel at the highest luxury level, but that they can still have a beautiful and wonderful experience at a more budget-friendly area. So that's probably the biggest things that I've seen as far as changes where group travel is concerned. I did want to touch on, these guys had a couple of really good points. So Karen talked about bringing clothespins. Not only they hang those on the hanger, but how many of you have ever been in a room that the curtains don't quite close? They're great for that. If you forget your clothespins, go get the hanger that has the pant cookies on it, and stick that hanger on there to hold it in place. So there's my little tip there. And then on the meds list, that's such a good thing to put on. But they are also recommending not only when you bring extra meds with you, but bring a list of the prescriptions, and even pack empty put empty bottles in your packing, your packing. So if there is an issue, it's better to have that information with you. Hopefully that would never happen. It's one of those things you plan for that you hope it never happens. But anyway, those are just.
Oh, more tips. Are you guys writing all these tips down? Okay, somebody keep a list. Okay, so Karen, what are your favorite trips for packing lighter and smarter?
So I love packing cubes. I have tons of packing cubes. You can fit a lot of shirts and just things. I get really lightweight stuff like the shirt I have on, and then I can pack a bunch of them in the packing cubes. I can get every shirt I need.
Wait a minute, what is a packing tube? You guys all know what a packing tube is?
Oh,
I don't.
packing
What's a
cube.
packing tube?
Oh, I have one in the car, I should have brought it in. So a packing cube is just like this little bag that you put your clothes in. It's like rectangular, and then it zips up to kind of compress your clothes. I should have brought it in, darn. And Amazon has tons of packing cubes. So if you just say packing cubes and go to Amazon, you'll get a set of different sizes of cubes. So the small one I always put my socks and underwear in, and then a bigger one is my shirts. And then it zips up and it compresses, so you can fit all kinds of stuff in one suitcase with packing cubes. They're great, they're awesome, I use them all the time. The laundry, I mentioned, lightweight clothes, like I said, I can fit all my shirts in one square packing cube that ends up about that high. Zip off shorts. I mean, they look dorky, but they're long pants and they zip off to go, you can turn them into shorts. Works great. You know, who cares? Who cares if somebody thinks my pants look weird? I don't care. It's so much easier. You've got a pair of pants and a pair of shorts in one. So I have some of those and those work great too. The thing is, just find a system that works for you. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about the packing cubes. When you're ready to expand them, take the clothes out, are they wrinkled?
They can be a little wrinkled, yeah. I just usually hang them up and they're okay, or else I'm wrinkled.
You know what I do? I hang my clothes up in the shower and turn it on hot water and steam up that bathroom and steam press my clothes.
They also have spray wrinkle release.
Oh.
Yeah, you can get the little spray wrinkle stuff too in a little travel thing, yeah. I mean, I travel by myself most of the time. I'm never gonna see these people again. So I'm wrinkled with weird pants. I'm having fun.
Well, Justin, getting back to the medication, because that can be really tricky when people are traveling. What can you tell us about managing those medications while we're away?
Yeah, if you are flying, I would keep medications in a carry-on bag. I wouldn't put it in a checked bag just because I'm not even sure how many times you guys have had the experience of losing your checked bag or it's whatever. So just keep personal things and very important things in your carry-on bag just so you can have it on you at all times. And then if possible, I would bring the medications in the same labeled container, just so one, you don't forget about like which medication is which, and if someone else has to get involved, they know specifically which medication is which. So if possible, I would keep it in the same container that it is, and then just plan ahead for time zone changes. So whatever that is, like Florida would be an hour ahead, or if you go west, 2 hours behind. So just making sure that you're aware of what time zone that you're going to, just so you can plan ahead for when you need to take those medications.
Good advice. So Tristan, what are some common mistakes that we, as retirees, might make when budgeting for travel and leisure activities?
Like I said before, you know, I see a lot of people treat travel as an occasional expense, and they don't sit down and come up with a strategy on how much they might use year to year. And without a dedicated budget for leisure activities, I've seen spending become inconsistent, and it can place unnecessary pressure on other parts of the retirement and your funds. So a lot of times I will overshoot and be conservative for my clients. And let's say I say they take $5,000 or $10,000 out every year for travel. And I budget that in, I have it coming out of the retirement plan yearly to make sure at the end of the day, no matter what, they've got some cushion there and they're able to do what they want to do when they want to. I think it's very important.
So again, it goes back to planning, right?
Yes, always.
So Chloe, there's a lot of destinations out there, but what are some that are especially popular right now for travelers at this stage of life?
Really, at this stage of life, I'm hearing more and more domestic. They want to do domestic travel, maybe go to Canada or something like that, that's still considered enough domestic. But, national parks has been one of the huge ones that I'm hearing about, is people wanna go see the national parks and be able to really enjoy some of the beauty of what we have here. So many times we think we need to go over to Europe or somewhere like that to see beautiful things. Well, there's a lot of beautiful stuff here. Also, the museums, people are really loving museums. I think that, and there's so many different types, but there's, a lot of people think, oh, there's the art museums and stuff like that. But there's museums that are human interest type museums that are very cool and very fun to go. And of course, can also bring a lot of nostalgia and that type of thing. And then, of course, the theaters and shows that are available out there. There are so many things that people want to go where those places are, whether that's Branson or whether that's New York City or Chicago. Those are the types of things that people really enjoy doing, and being able to go and enjoy those types of things. And that's kind of really popular. But I would say domestic, I've noticed a lot of people say, we don't want to go over, we've done all our overseas traveling, we're ready to do domestic. And so, but again, national parks are probably top of that list.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I'm ready to go. How about you guys?
Something that I don't know if most people know, but if you're over 62 or over, you can get a lifetime national parks pass for $80. If you're a veteran, you can get one free. There's some other things, if you don't know that.
And
about
that's for all the
parks.
national parks, yep.
Yeah, and it's for a lifetime.
And it also
I'm sorry, so the national park thing, you only need, if you're a couple, you only need one of them, because it's good for your whole car to get in. So you don't have to buy two of them as a couple, you just need one.
My husband got a veterans one, but I got a separate one for me because I might not always be with him.
True, yeah. You go.
Okay. So Karen, what are some things that travelers might forget to bring that are really important? Have you ever gone on a trip and forgot something really important?
Every trip. I've learned to bring a refillable water bottle, because most airports have, once you get in, have one of those bottle fillers. If you find them, you gotta look for them, but you can find those, and that saves you a lot. Ziploc bags are so handy. I bring like an assortment of empty Ziploc bags in my suitcase. You'd be amazed how often they come in handy. Snacks. Don't forget to bring snacks to have on the plane, things like that.
Because sometimes one little bag of peanuts just doesn't do it, does it?
Right, yeah. I tend to overpack on the snacks too. Sometimes a phone lanyard or something that can attach your phone. So if you're in a park or somewhere or on a boat and you want to take a picture and you want to make sure that your phone doesn't fall in somewhere, so a lanyard, or there's some that attach to your wrist that can attach to your phone, Amazon. Yeah, something like that keeps you safe, or even your glasses. Like if you're on a boat or something, you want to look down and you don't want your glasses to fall off. It's a cord or something that would hold on your glasses. It's very handy to have too. And on the plane, what I do is I bring this really, really super lightweight bag, and then I put that inside my backpack so that when I sit in my seat, I stick my backpack in the overhead, and then I have a small backpack that I can just have under my seat and I still have foot room. And then that really is helpful to when you go on excursions to bring along just a small bag that's really lightweight, handy for your raincoat or whatever, something like that.
Good tips. Okay. Well, Justin, sometimes people are traveling with maybe their parents or older adults. What are some things that people should think about when they are going to be traveling with somebody who's older with them?
Yeah, I think it'll just be having open conversations about comfort levels and just like kind of the expectations of the trip. And just like I said earlier, like building in those rest breaks, just having a flexible schedule, because you might be traveling with someone that might be younger but full of energy. So I think just being very open with them and just letting them know, like, I will need rest breaks, whenever that might be. So just making sure that the family is aware before you guys travel, making sure you have a flexible schedule. And then I would just say, don't feel pressured by the loved ones to try and keep up with that fast pace. So making sure that you're saying, like, hey, I can't keep up with that, or whatever it might be. just being open to say, hey, just not to be pressured with the fast pace of kids or younger individuals. And then I would just say focus on enjoying the experience instead of trying to do everything. So I feel like people can get caught up just trying to go, but I think it's just being very present in the moment, whatever that might be, whether you're at the national park or museum or aquarium, wherever you might be, just enjoying those moments instead of trying to rush through everything, so.
Okay, Tristan, so we're spending a lot of money on travel, but how can we be sure that we're balancing, enjoying our money today, but still protecting our long-term financial security?
This is very important. It's very important to recognize that retirement is not a static thing. You know, it's everly changing. Just like markets are gonna fluctuate. Inflation is gonna impact your guys' purchasing power, and your personal goals may change over time. So I think it's very important to regularly review your financial plan. And you have to make sure that you can continue to enjoy the experiences that are gonna matter most to you. But staying on top of it, don't let it sit there and just hope for the best and think it's gonna be all right. You need to look at this constantly to make sure everything's aligned.
Good. Well, and when you're paying for travel, another thing that might come up is travel insurance. And Chloe, can you tell us about travel insurance and why it's important? Is it a good deal? Has it ever helped anybody that you know of?
Yes, it's helped a lot of people. I actually have a gal that was going first trip right after retirement. She'd get to the airport, as she was going up the escalator to go to her thing, somehow or another she fell and broke her arm. Literally going on the trip. Well, she's like, well, I've been planning for this, I'm still going. They wrapped it up. She got on the plane and went to New York City and spent a couple of days there, and then got on a river cruise. Well, she went to urgent care to have them check it, make sure that was gonna be okay. They said, yeah, we really can't do anything right now, it's so swollen, let's wrap it, keep it iced. So she had her instructions of what she had to do. So she did some modifications of, okay, well, I'm not gonna be able to do this excursion, but I can do this one. So I was doing a lot of swapping for her. We were figuring it out while she was going. She says, I'm not missing this. And I said, okay, so, but what was nice is she was able to still go on her trip. But that broken arm, she had travel protection, she had her the medical on there. They took care of paying for all of this stuff at the urgent care, all of this stuff with that. When she got home, she had surgery, had physical therapy, and it was all covered under her travel insurance because it was part of her thing. So it's really can be very, very important to have travel insurance. You know, not just for that, but there's the trip cancellation or interruption, and that's, excuse me, where you get reimbursed for non-refundable things or that type of stuff, as well if you would have to cancel due to an injury. She could have canceled and got reimbursed for all of it, but she said, no, I'm going, you know. But so that was cute, but because she had that. But there's also medical emergencies, which hers was one of those as well. One thing to understand about the medical emergencies, well, I don't need medical, I have Medicaid or Medicare, or I have my insurance. Those do not pay if you are not in country, and a lot of people don't realize when you get on a ship and it goes out to sea, you're now in international waters, and that does not work. You have to have travel, medical insurance, so that's a really important piece that a lot of people are not aware of. Another thing is, we talked about lost and delayed baggage. It also will help cover for that. I have to say, I traveled for about 20 years, 20 to 25 times a year. And in that time, they only had one luggage got lost one time, and it was just delayed. So it really does not happen as often as people think it does. I always tell people, make sure you it's well tagged. Make sure they have the tags on before you leave the desk, you know, make sure that tag is on there before you leave. I really, you know, when you think about the millions and millions of people that travel every day, it's really quite amazing how few pieces of luggage actually get lost, but they do have that. Again, it's just as expenses if there's a delay. At certain points, there's like, okay, a 1 or 2 hour delay might be okay, but you start getting to 6 and 12 hour delays, there starts to become expenses, and those things are covered as well. And then 24/7 emergency assistance is always nice to have, and it really is. It's one of those things. Again, you hope you will never ever use, but boy, when you need it, it sure is good to have it there. And it's usually a percentage of whatever the cost of your trip is. And it's just the parts of the non-refundable parts. You want to make sure, absolutely sure that are covered, and then understand that you probably do want even the stuff that says non-refundable, you probably still wanna cover those things. Because when you're once you're going past those refundable dates, now it becomes an item that you wanna make sure you get reimbursed for, and something horrible should happen.
You touched on something, you talked about when she fell, you were on the phone with her making other arrangements. Is that something that you do? You stay in touch with your travelers?
Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. I do what I call concierge service from top, start, finish. I literally just had, some clients that were in Florida, and they were having some issues with, a car issue. And they just called me and said, what do we need to do? And I was able to just say, this is what you're able to do. I can do this part for you. Last night, I literally had somebody that's on their way home, they just came back to Lincoln today. They'd been out to Yellowstone, they'd done a big thing there. Well, they got to a location a lot quicker than they thought. And they said, can we cancel this hotel? And we were past the cancellation. I said, well, let me call and see what I can do. So they were able to go and eat dinner and enjoy themselves. I got on the phone, was able to get the refund for them, fully refunded for them, even though it was past cancellation. But I have my contacts, so sometimes it's not what you know, but who you know, right? And so it's just something that I do all the way through. I don't just set up the thing and say, good luck. You're constantly getting things to say you want to make sure, packing list. Do you need certain things, to make sure you have? And that's just part of it.
Oh, that's wonderful you do. I know we have a couple questions coming up, but we do have microphones that we're gonna pass around later, because it might be a question that everybody might wanna hear and learn from, so just write your question down, don't forget it, because we'll get good to you, okay? Karen, you're taking your zip-off pants and your zip-lock bags and your clothespins, but how do you stay organized then when you travel? Especially like all the different documents if you're going to another country, or your boarding passes and your chargers and your medications and your schedules, how do you keep that all organized?
Well, so you know those pants? Well, they also have 2 giant pockets on each side, right? The right side is where my passport goes, and the left side is where my phone goes. And you zip them up so nobody can pickpocket, and then they're handy, they're right there. I have my special pants, yes.
Travel
It's yes, they are my travel pants, that's what I call them, yes. I print out everything, because I am not good with my phone sometimes, and when the internet won't connect you at the airport, then if you have your pass only on your phone, then you could be in trouble. And I print out my schedule, my plan and everything, so I have all that as a backup, just in case. Like he said, carry on your meds. Or your wonderful travel agent helps you. She's awesome. And I have a little electronics bag that I keep all my, I'm getting my system. So all of my chargers and electronic things go in this little zippy bag, Amazon. And I always carry that on with me, so I have that. So pretty much, and those Ziploc bags? Itty bitty little Ziploc bags. Smaller than
Tack
snack
bags?
than this bag.
Okay.
So
Little.
my medications go in those itty bitty bags. And so all my vitamins I have in little bags, so that way I'm not carrying that big old medication thingy with the lids and stuff. And so I put cough drops in a little bag, Ziploc bag, and my medications that I need on the plane when I'm on an overnight flight, and that kind of stuff, so. That's it.
Wow. So if somebody wants you to come and organize their travel, would you just come with me on a trip and take care of all that?
Oh, I'm willing to travel with anybody almost anywhere, so just let me know.
I'm available.
Okay. You heard it. We just started a new business for you. Okay. Yeah, Chloe and Karen.
Travel companions.
Between the two of them, they can do it all, right? Well, Justin, what mobility or accessibility issues do travelers often forget to plan for ahead of time?
I feel like these are things that I forget to do or think about, but like the long walks through like airports or hotels, or just standing in lines for like extended periods of time, especially like TSA can be very hit or miss, whether it's fast or it's a super long line and it's very fast paced. I feel like in that environment and you're trying to like go through that. So I think just being aware of those situations and bringing things that you might be able to sit on or just kind of things like that. And then like getting on and off buses, or like shuttles or those cruise excursions. So I think it's just being mentally like aware of that and prepared for that, and then bring things that you can bring to either sit on, like those foldable, portable chairs, or things like that. Or just requesting wheelchair or mobility assistance ahead of time. So just being a little proactive with that can help you guys out, or anybody in the long run, so.
Good idea. Tristan, what are some ways that people can begin to setting aside some funds, especially for travel, even if your retirement is a few years away? How can they do that?
All right, let's say it together, guys. No, honestly, I think it's very important that you map out what you want retirement to look like and what you want travel to look like. There's easy ways to start putting money aside in funds, and I recommend very conservative type of investments like bonds. When we make sure that money's there for you when you need it, and it's able to be used for what you wanted to use it for. And the earlier, in my experience, that people start planning, you're gonna have more flexibility when it comes time to travel. And if someone says they wanna go somewhere, you're like, hey, I've got that travel fund ready to go. We can do this, we can go. But yes, plan and be ready for it. The earlier we do it, the better.
Okay, great. Well, Chloe, there might be some people here today who haven't traveled for a while, and they're kind of nervous about starting traveling again, and they just, are kind of leery about doing it all. What advice would you give to somebody like that?
Well, that's always very understandable, because, maybe it's been years since you've been on the plane, or years you've been able to travel. What I recommend is just start with a real short trip, okay? 3 or 4 days, go to Chicago for 3 or 4 days. One thing nice about that is it's a direct nonstop. You don't have to worry about switching gates in the airport, because a lot of times that's the piece that's like, but how do I get from gate to gate? It really stops people. So stop and, try with something like that. Another thing is take a train trip. Go on a train trip. You're seeing some beautiful, beautiful stuff. We from Lincoln here into Colorado. I obviously go into Salt Lake or even all the way to the coast. We have an absolutely beautiful train ride. You get on, now you do get on in the middle of the night, but when you get on in the middle of the night, when you get up and you're waking up in the morning, as the sun is rising, it's showing off those beautiful Rocky Mountains. You pull into Denver fairly early in the morning. They get the trains all switched around, and then you spend the whole entire day going through the Rocky Mountains and right along the river, and it's a beautiful, beautiful trip. And then you come in nighttime, you get into Salt Lake City, and then you get back up, and then you're coming back up into Nevada if you want to go on into California. So that's a beautiful place to start, because you get like a roomette, or you can even get bedrooms on there where you can actually sleep on the train, and all the meals are included. So you don't have to figure out, well, what are we going to, where do I eat, how do I eat, and stuff like that on the plane. So or on the train, that's a really good place to start. But even a better place to even start is with the day trip, where you just are gonna go one day, how can I handle this for one day? And we do have a day trip that's being sponsored by Savvy Seniors, that's going to the Nebraska State Fair on August 31st. And we only have 16 spots left, but if that's something you wanna kind of get your toe in the water again and kind of get doing something, that's a great place to start. But I would say just start with a real short trip, 3 to 4 days, and not stress yourself about it.
Yes, we'd love to have you come to the state fair with us. I think we're gonna have more fun on the bus than at the fair, but who knows? Okay, so where are we here? Karen, what has been one of your most memorable travel experiences and why?
Oh, wow, that's a hard one. So in January, my sister and I went to Egypt, and Chloe figured it out for us, and went with Wandering Gwyneth, which she has some flyers out there. And I've known Gwyneth since she was in 2nd grade. She's amazing, she's so much fun. Anyway.
That's Betty Telly, Betty Telly's one of our Savvy Seniors, that's her daughter.
Yeah, right, yeah. So my sister turned 60 and I turned 70, and we thought, well, what the heck, let's just go to Egypt and play pickleball. So that was really special. But then last July, my brother, who lives in Austria, invited me to come see him. And this is before I knew about Chloe. So I set up everything to go on and visit him. And then my son says, oh, you know what? I'm gonna be in Berlin in July. Why don't I meet you there? So I'm sure, of course I will do that. So I went, set it up all myself, went to visit my brother, stayed with him for a little while, decided to do a bicycle trip. Didn't know I was gonna be in Austria doing the bicycle trip by myself. But I did, and it was amazing, and rode my bike in the mountains, which about killed me, but it was really fun. And then I had about a week and a half to kill before I met my son in Berlin, so I said, well, why don't I just go to Munich, and why don't I learn how to figure out how to take the train, and you know, it was out of my comfort zone, but it ended up to be just so amazing. So you know what, you can do it. Just decide, heck, what's the worst that can happen? And go for it.
Well, Justin, how can travelers prepare if they have a health condition but they still want to travel confidently? What should they do?
Yeah, just to kind of recap what I said earlier, first thing is just go to your primary doctor before traveling and get that go-ahead from them, and then just bring those extra supplies and medications. It's very important to be safe and sorry, be very proactive with that. So just kind of recap with those two things. And then just know your own limits, pace yourself, and research nearby pharmacies or hospitals, and kind of understand how far those hospitals might be from where you're staying, just so you can be aware of that. But I think most importantly is just to remember that just because you might have a health condition, that doesn't mean you have to stop traveling. Might be more difficult, but you might have to do more stuff, but it doesn't mean you have to stop traveling. So I just want to encourage you guys with that.
Okay, so Justin, have you seen any examples where travel and meaningful experiences might improve someone's overall retirement satisfaction and their quality of life?
Yes, I definitely have. We often see retirees who spend much of their working years prioritizing saving, being disciplined, going to work, but once they reach retirement, they're able to start using some of those funds, and I see a lot of my clients incorporate annual trips with their families, with their children and grandchildren, and I've seen that sharing these experiences strengthens those relationships, and at the end of the day, I think we all can agree that's what's really important, is having those relationships with your family. Another example is, you know, we've got these dedicated resources and time, and I see individuals maybe have like a winter plan. They go to Florida or southern Texas for winter time. And you know what? It has given a lot of individuals a renewed sense of purpose, routine, and engagement during retirement. The structure and anticipation of getting ready to go on a trip can replace that rhythm that you once had, getting up for work and doing whatever it might have been. And last but not least, this is exactly what these funds were set aside for in a well-structured retirement plan. You work your entire life not only to have these, but to enjoy it. So at the end of the day, I've said it again, it's what it's there for.
Good advice. Well, Flo, some things we do have to watch out for when traveling, and that is some scams. And we heard a couple of months ago about some different scams that are going around. But what about travel scams? Are there some common ones, especially maybe online, or some of the biggest scams that people should be watching out for so that they protect themselves when they're booking these trips?
Yeah, well, first I'm just gonna say, use a travel agent and make sure it's somebody you know or that you can physically be talking to. I of course would love that if you used me, but if you have a travel agent, that is gonna be one of your sources of protection. Very, very much a source of protection. Because one of the new things that's happening, and I actually had a friend that it happened to her, one of her clients, just a couple of months ago, that the resort called and said, hey, your guys are coming in next week, but we have a $5,000, you have to pay this $5,000 balance first. And they called her direct. The lady panicked and said, oh, I thought this was already done, and gave them her number. Then she called her travel agent. And her travel agent goes, no, it's paid for. they were unable to recover it because they were so fast at it. So my recommendation is, if you ever get a call, whether it's from a hotel or the cruise line or a resort, no matter who it's from, say, let me get your number, I need to call my travel agent and see why this wasn't taken care of. So you're not calling them a liar flat out, but get as much information from that person as they'll give you, and then say, I will call them. If they try to give you a number to call back, say, I'll get the number from my travel agent, she'll take care of it. And let your travel agent handle it, because if there is truly an issue, they need to, that should be something they're taking care of from you. So that is a huge, huge one right now. Another thing is spoofed websites. So don't think I can go to Google and I'll just type it in and now I brought up Celebrity Cruises. They are spoofing these websites and giving false information. So it's nice to be able to, that's why I say, use a travel agent, even if it's not me, that helps protect you so much. If you use a travel agent from, like a recommendation from a referral from a friend, and they live out of the state, make sure you can get on a Zoom call that you can physically see their face. If they keep telling you, oh, our camera's broke, or I don't have that, stay away from them. Those are just a couple of things to help protect you. And that's what you need to do, is just make sure you're protecting you, and make sure you've got a travel agent that you know, or that one of your friends knows very well, so you can make sure that you're protecting yourself.
Good information there. Karen, sounds like you've been on a few flights. What are some of your best tips for making those long airport stays and waits and long flights more comfortable?
3 words: noise canceling earbuds. Yes, and comfortable shoes.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, so I told my sister that. I showed her my itty bitty little container, but it's they're the Bose noise canceling. And she said, oh my gosh, that was all the difference of having a decent flight and not. So you can hook them up to your phone. So I just put them in my ear, put them on immersion, so it cuts the plane noise, you know, that it cuts that out. And so I put on my classical music, my Vivaldi, and just chill. A neck pillow really does help if you get the right kind. It makes a difference. Then you're not doing this, you know, all night long. Because I'm cheap. I don't do the expensive seats. I just figure I want to spend my money when I get there. So I'm back in the cattle car. You know, and always bring a Kindle to read my books, because otherwise you're carrying around these heavy books, and then you get to the end of the book and you're in a foreign country where they don't have English books. And so, you know, that way with your Kindle, you just load a bunch of books on it. If you finish a book, you just go to the next one. They're lightweight, you just recharge them. They're really handy to have. One of the things that, about charging, when you're in an airport and they have those charging stations, don't plug into those. My son's a techie guy, and he says they can get your information off that. They put in these things and so if just find a regular plug-in for your charger that you have with you in your carry-on, right? Those are safe, but don't plug into those charging station ones, because sometimes they put stuff on there. Yeah, but it can,
That's good to know.
yeah. So, and if you're traveling overseas and you don't want to do a phone plan and pay extra for it, WhatsApp is a really good app on your phone to use, because you can call, you can FaceTime on it, I mean, you can do the visual, or you can call and you can text without being charged. So that's a nice little thing to use too, and it's encrypted, double encrypted, so you're safe with information as well.
Yes, okay. Well, Justin, what are some warning signs that the traveler might be pushing themselves too hard physically during a trip?
Yeah, I think these are also things that we have seen with CareTech, that people might be pushing themselves too hard, and they need to kind of take a break. But I think the big two is, number one, feeling more exhausted after just doing simple activities. Because you might be doing something, you're just like, whoa, like this is very exhausting and it shouldn't be. So I think it's just being aware of that. Then also, if you're needing more frequent breaks than usual, I feel like once you start experiencing those, kind of like I said earlier, like know your own limits, kind of take a step back and kind of understand like what the current situation is, and then doing those procedures or steps to kind of get more relaxed and build up more energy, so you can go out through traveling or your everyday life. So just kind of being aware of the situations.
Okay. Well, Tristan, with inflation affecting travel costs and gas, what advice would you give to retirees who still want to travel but they don't want to overspend?
So we probably hear this quite a lot. Inflation has made everything more expensive, noticeably travel, in recent years. But that doesn't mean that you guys can give up meaningful experiences in travel. It does, however, mean your investment portfolio and retirement plans require a lot more intentional flexibility in planning. From a planning perspective, it's very important to regularly review these. And you might have to adjust, and we see it a lot, as a well-structured financial plan on where your investments are sitting. It could be with rising costs and adjusting withdrawal strategies, investment allocation, and we do that so that you guys can live retirement in your lifestyle accordingly to how you want it to. So again, plan for it and keep on top of it so you're not shooken by something at the end of the day. You're aware of it.
Good. Okay, Chloe, back to you now. What are some mistakes that people tend to make when they're trying to book complicated travel online themselves?
Not even complicated. So there's several things that people miss that I'll have that I might get a panic call from when they decided they were going to do the trip on their own. But one of the things is they just miss elements of the trip that they shouldn't. So I had, for instance, they said, well, we're going to go ahead and take care of our I set up a cruise for them, and they said, we'll go ahead and take care of our flights and hotel the day before. I said, okay, that's fine. So at my what I call my wrap-up meeting with them, as I go through, even though that they booked those things, I said, okay, you got your flight, and they said, yeah, and I said, I added that to the itinerary, and then they had the hotel. I said, now, when you get off the plane, how are you planning on getting from the airport to the hotel? Oh, I don't know, I haven't thought about that. Now, how are you guys getting from the hotel to the ship? Oh, I hadn't thought about that. So usually it's missed elements of things that you do all the big pieces, but you miss the little tiny thing, those nuances that can really cause stress on a trip, you know. And that's probably one of the big thing. Another thing is so many hotels and resorts, especially in like Orlando, Florida, or any of the places that have resorts, have what they call resort fees. And they don't let us collect that for them. That has to be collected at property. And a lot of times, and it's happened literally to my daughter. She was the worst client ever, but I loved her anyway. But just to say, no, I have to say that. But anyway, she decided that she wanted to go to Florida. First time she was going to get on an airplane since she had children. Her and her husband are high anxiety, stressed people when it comes to doing anything. It's like, you know, they just have very high anxiety. So I knew I was going to deal with that. I said, okay, here's some hotels that I recommend, etc. Well, Mom, I found this cheaper. And I said, did you really find it cheaper? And she says, well, this is what it costs. I said, but what about the resort fee? What resort fee? I said, this resort fee. I said, you've also only got one, you know, this type of room. There's 4 of you. You need to be able to fit all 4 of you in there. Oh, I didn't know about that. So those are the kind of things that people don't think about. There's little nuances. Is it refundable? Is it non-refundable? Is it transferable? Is it not transferable? Little things like that people kind of forget to look at because they're just looking at the big piece items. I gotta get my flight, gotta get my hotel, got the cruise. And then there's all the little nuances in between that get forgotten. So those would be, I'd say, most things. Oh, and the other thing is looking for the cheapest thing. I promise you, usually the cheapest is not always the best. Because I'll have somebody say, well, I got a flight for this much. Yeah, but did you have to pay for your carry-on? Did you have to pay for a check luggage? Did you have to pay for your seat? Did you have to pay for all these things? and then it ends up costing you more than it would have at the next level. So just those nuances like that.
Yeah, that would be important. Karen, you mentioned that you actually travel by yourself. I don't know if I'd be that brave, but you're definitely a brave woman for doing that. But what are some safety measures that you've incorporated to keep yourself safe while you're traveling?
Well, it's not that I'm brave, I just don't know any better. So, well, it's like being anywhere, right? Especially if you're a woman by yourself. You're just gonna be aware. If somebody starts walking close behind you or something, and what I just do is I'll stop and look in the window, or I'll act like I'm looking at my phone and look around so I can see who's behind me. It's just things that you would do anyway. When I'm in a foreign country by myself, the people at the hotel are great. You ask them, where's it safe to be at night if I go out for dinner? Is there an area I want to stay away from? Is there an area that's safe? A lot of times, Chloe will set you up with a hotel that's close to a lot of the things that you want to see, so you don't have really far to walk. Or, you're just aware, and you're careful, and you watch, and you don't do silly things like go out at midnight and there's nobody else around except for some sketchy people. I don't advise it, but just be aware.
Okay. Well, Justin, what are some resources or services that might be available today that can help us stay independent while continuing to travel?
I'd say one big thing that I noticed, just like working with CareTech, is we work with a lot of older adults that before we meet with them, they're taking care of either their older parents or other elderly friends or family. So they're kind of doing that out of the goodness of their heart, and they're not able to travel or enjoy those other experiences because they have this responsibility put on them to help take care of a family member or friend. So what we're able to kind of help out with is give relief to that quote unquote caregiver. So they're able to do what's called a respite care program. And we would come in there during whatever time frame it might be, so they can use that time to go travel or have time to themselves. So we're kind of able to give relief to that family or friend that's kind of doing those things out of the goodness of their heart. So we're able to give relief so they can't travel. I think more practical things that if you're not having to do those things, just airport wheelchair mobility assistance, making sure you have accessible hotel rooms or wherever you're staying, making sure that is accessible for you and your needs. And then just either medication reminders or health apps are super helpful. I mean, with my Apple Watch it tracks my heartbeat and other health things for me. So I'm just making sure you have those things that give you like that in the moment assistance. So.
Good. Tristan, how should people think about larger bucket list trips, those big ones that they really want to go on, when creating a retirement income plan?
Well, again, it's gonna start off by a really good plan. And, I wanna say, there's a few things that, when that comes up, I encourage a lot of my clients to do it early, when they're still mobile and able to do whatever they like. Another thing is look at that plan all the time. I do not want to see a client of mine make an uninformed decision and go on a trip that they really wanted to do, and that affects their retirement down the line 10 years later. And at the same time, we have a great plan. I don't want my client going on a trip and having to worry about nickel and diming everything. I want them to go and have fun and enjoy their time with them and their family. And that's what those funds are there for. But really coming up with that good plan will make everything way more stress-free.
Okay. Well, Chloe, what would you say to someone who keeps putting off that big dream trip that they want to take someday?
Do it. Go and do it. And I'm gonna give you an example, okay? My mother talked for my entire life about how she wanted to go to England. She was a huge Jane Austen fan, and she also was very much English. She was about a lot of genealogy, and so she wanted to go to see where her roots were. And she talked about it, and I said, well, we need to go. Yeah, I kept saying we need to go someday. Finally, I just thought, you know what? She's gonna be 85 this year. She's actually gone now. She would have been 98 the other day, but she's been gone for a couple of years. But so it was just before her 85th birthday. I called her up and I said, guess what, Mom? She says, what? I says, we're going to England for your birthday. So I asked all my sisters and nieces if anybody wanted to go. ended up with one more sister and one more niece to go with us. And I put together a thing, a Jane Austen tour basically, but I also took her up through Derbyshire and all that area, which was where her family was from. We were able to go to cemeteries and just had a beautifully wonderful trip. It was a treasure, okay? And the reason I bring that up is because 1 year later, almost to the date, I was at a scrapbooking event, scrapbooking that trip and putting that information in a book, and I got a phone call. My mother was in the hospital for the first time in 52 years. She'd only ever been in the hospital to give birth, okay? My sister was 52 at that time. She'd had a lung in her clot, or a clot in her lung in her clot, whatever, lung in her clot. I said it again. Anyway, so she ended up being on oxygen for the rest of her life. And it was, and her, she got, weaker and stuff like that. And that would have been probably one of my biggest regrets, is making sure she didn't get on that trip before that. So if there's a trip you've been talking about doing, nope, she'd never been in the hospital except for to have children. She was one of the healthiest people I've ever known. And all of a sudden, from 1 year to the next year, her entire life changed. And I say that again also because my husband, I talked about that, he's the reason I started looking into doing more senior travel, is we went on a trip in 2023, and it was a cruise, and he ended up, we had to have a cane for him because he was just getting weaker and weaker all the time. He wasn't taking care of his health very well. And since that time, he's had 2 heart attacks, a stroke, since 2018, he's had 2 heart attacks, a stroke, BKA, and he is currently in rehab because he broke his hip a couple weeks ago. Needless to say, our travel looks a lot different than it did before. We were supposed to go on 2 trips this year. We will not be going. Last year, he didn't get to go on a trip because of his health. So I, do it now if you can. Whether it's just to go see your grandkids or to go to see family or go see that show on Broadway that you have always wanted to see, whatever it is, don't put it off. Find a way to do it. Just find a way to do it, because I don't want, like I said, because of my mom's, her birthday, and her be able to go. That was one of the most meaningful things for her, and she talked about that until the day she was gone. Every time we were on the phone, she would say, "Do you remember when?" And we talked every day, so I got to hear about that trip every day for 8 years, which this is thrilled. I loved it, and I got, so for every day for 8 years past that. So anyway, I just do it.
Take the trip.
Find a way.
Yeah. Karen, what encouragement would you give to us about if we feel nervous or intimidated or overwhelming about traveling, since we're a little bit older than we used to be?
Like she said, just do it. You gotta get out of your comfort zone a little bit within reason, and you'll never regret a trip you took, but you'll regret the trip you didn't take. So when I was teaching, I didn't think I could take any time off work to do things, and I had young kids. But my brother would have family backpacking trips that I never got to go on. And then he died. So I regret that. So I don't want you to be regretting things that you can do. And yeah, you're gonna be nervous. Yeah, you're gonna get lost. I'm lost all the time. you find your way in GPS, But it's so rewarding, and it gives you just such a feeling of accomplishment too. I mean, if you're really nervous and then you do it, you're gonna be really proud of yourself, and you're gonna have fun doing it.
Yeah. Thank you. Justin, when we're taking trips, we're go, 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 right? All the time. How important is hydration, rest, and pacing ourselves as we travel?
It's very important, not just for safety, but just for overall enjoyment of your trip and the things you're going to be doing there. Because dehydration can happen fairly quickly, especially during flights, or if you go to weather places, your body's not used to that, you can get very dehydrated. So just making sure you're aware of that. And just making sure that you're pacing yourself, because that allows you to enjoy your trip. If you're not just like go, 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 or you're trying to keep up with those fast-paced family members, you can get very exhausted very quick. So I think it's just pacing yourself and knowing your own limits and what you can and cannot do. And I just feel like travel should feel enjoyable and not overwhelming. So it's just making sure you pace yourself, you're very open with your family or whoever you're traveling with, and then bringing those things with you, so making sure that you're prepared for those things, so.
Okay, and Tristan, if you could give one piece of advice for someone who's approaching retirement or in retirement, and they're dreaming of travel more and spending some of that money, what would that advice be?
If there's one piece of advice for someone approaching retirement who dreams of traveling more, it's gonna be this. It's gonna be make a travel plan for your retirement, income strategy, and not something you hope to fit in later. Retirement is not a fixed schedule. It's evolving stage of life, family circumstances changes, health changes, and it's something that you want to do and make sure you plan for it. And another thing I think is very important is you have an advisor or somebody that you trust that is a sounding board. I say that to my clients all the time. I'm a sounding board for them for all types of big decisions. It could be selling a company, buying some more real estate, or even planning a trip. I will get them in touch with somebody that I trust to help them come up with a travel plan. Then I'll stress test it, and we will look at that to make sure it aligns properly and that they're gonna be able to enjoy this trip. And know when they come back, life's gonna keep going in the way that they expected.
Good. Dave Tyler, can I have you come up here? I have a question for you about Medicare when you're traveling abroad. And sometimes Medicare doesn't go with you. Could you just real briefly explain that piece to us?
That's a great question. That's a question nobody seems to want to have the answer to. Medicare will cover certain things. We don't know what those certain things are. I'm the Medicare guy, I don't know. But one thing you can do, you can get some extra coverage if that's a concern for you, if you need to. Because you don't want to get over into some other country where you can't even speak the language and realize something bad has happened. I don't know what to do and what's covered. So Medicare will cover some of it. But what that sum is, I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to that. And I don't usually get to say that. So.
Okay, Flo, did you have something you want to add about that?
I was just gonna say, with all the people that I've had that traveled that have had medical issues, never have I seen anything covered by Medicaid. I don't know what it would be if it is.
Medicare.
Medicare, I've never seen anything, but it's been covered. The only thing I could think that could possibly, when you're traveling, would be if you were on a cruise and you were in a US port. So just kind of, I always just say, I've not ever seen it happen so far. That doesn't mean it's not out there. It's better to prepare and just have medical travel insurance.
Okay. All right, does anybody on our panel have anything they'd like to add before we go to questions? Okay, so we're gonna have Jason or pass around the mic here. We had some questions out there, or maybe Dave, you could help monitor who has questions. Who had questions? I know you had a question up here, or over there. Sure. You get your?
I'm curious, is this mic on? Okay. I'm curious about the difference, do we need different separate travel insurance for medical insurance when traveling as a separate thing from trip interruption and other problems about the travel part of the trip? Are those two separate things?
Generally, travel protection, when you're getting that, it includes both pieces, and there are different, just like in the regular insurance, where there are different types. So what happens is, you'll get presented, that they'll say these are the things that are available, but generally, it's all included under one piece of coverage. You don't have to have separate from the other, but there will be some people that will say, I only want medical, and you can get that separately, but the cost is so small, I recommend getting the whole coverage.
The Medicare gentleman just brought it up, language barrier. with seniors traveling in Europe, I mean, I would think that would be hesitant.
Yeah.
Take
There,
time.
yeah, there's several different things. Of course, obviously, if you're going to be in a guided tour, you're going to have an English-speaking guide. But Google Translate is amazing, and if you, I always tell, this is one of the things I always do, especially with my senior people, if they don't know how to use it. I literally will sit down in their living room with them and say, this is how you use it. And I show you how to be able to use it. Google Translate is fantastic. I even use it when I'm traveling domestically and I have an Uber driver that maybe doesn't have as great of English, we have a little bit of English barrier there. But we both use it back and forth and it's fabulous. But generally when you're in other countries, if you're, most places have English, some English speaking people, but there is that Google Translate, which is so much easier than the old look it up in the book and try to figure it out. Yeah, and Karen's gonna add something to that.
So Google Translate, you can translate from German to English or English to German, and you can even hold it up and take a picture, and if there's a sign, it'll translate the sign right on that. It is so handy. So I have these bizarre food allergies, so I gotta be really careful. So I'm always, translating, and you can show them the printed, you can ask a question, does this have dairy in it? And it'll print it out, and then you can show it to them, the printed, so they can read it, and so it's awesome. It's saved me more than once.
Okay, next question? Who's got a question?
I have a comment. I have two quick questions. One, what do you recommend about tips? I mean, sometimes the travel agent will say, well, you don't need to tip anything, it's all covered, but then you get there and everybody's tipping, and so questions about tips, and then also about medication. I've heard that you, when you go overseas, you really have to always take the bottle and not just your filled in medication things.
So in the, well, first the tipping. I actually send out a tip guide with everybody. So, because like on a trip, or like say I have people going on a river cruise here shortly, and on the one that they're on, they are not, the gratuities are not included. But I have a list of these are the recommended amounts. They are not required, but they're recommended, and then let them know that that this is that if you do this on board, this is how much it will be included. These are the people that are included. It doesn't include this person, or recommendations of if you're doing a day tour, how much is it recommended that you pay to the driver or you pay the guide. And so I actually give you a list and tell you if they want it in euros or if they want it in American dollars. I let you know what kind of money to be able to have available to you. I have, of course, always small bills, that's one thing. And then the other part of that was with the Medicare. Medication. I knew it started with med. Mediterranean medication. All right, but with the medication, yes, when you do go overseas, I do recommend you have, for the really important, things that, it's like, if you don't have this, it could really impair your health. I recommend you do take the bottles of those. You can go to the pharmacy and say, I need the smallest bottle that you have, and I need you to put my prescription information on there, so you have the smallest size, so you don't have the big giant sizes. And you can just put that, and I just usually throw those like in my, not my carry-on, I just throw that in my regular travel. In my carry-on, I'll have my list, and I actually just have a list on my phone, take a picture of that, and then I carry this stuff in my, my day-to-day stuff inside my carry-on, but it's not in bottles or anything like that. But that's what I generally recommend. But a lot of people don't realize they can go to the pharmacist and get just a small bottle of that. And I'll put a picture.
I'd like to, I know this is not my expertise, but I'd like to make a comment on that. I know historically when I go traveling or have my clients go traveling, I do like to tip, and I always make sure I take care of the person at the front desk, the bartender for me, and maybe the person who helps with the bags. Historically, when I've done that, I know you've got to be careful where you do so, but they take dang good care of you. You get there right away, you give so-and-so a little bit of money, and they're like, whatever you need, sir, we'll take care of it. It's made my trips much more like stress-free. I've gotten a little bit more perks and whatnot. I mean, immediately when I check in, I might slip them like $100 or something across the desk and say, thank you guys for having us, and it's increased my pleasure to stay a lot.
Next question?
Yeah, I had a comment. My wife and I travel quite a bit with our RV travel trailer. And recently we traveled to Georgia on a caravan with about 18 other units. But one of the things that I found so unique and that I had never thought of or seen before was one of the ladies in our group. And we go to a lot of museums, a lot of plantations. We probably saw more plantations than most people would ever want to see. But this one lady had this chair, this, what do you call it, a stool, that folds up to about that thick, about that big around, and you can buy it on Amazon. And it takes about 10 seconds to fold it up and down.
Mine's sitting out in my van right now. It's a
Yeah.
telescopic chair, they're awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome, and for a lot of you that may just be starting to travel, I just bought one. I'm taking it with us. We're going up to Minot here in a few months, and it's going to be really useful.
It's a
There's a lot of different brands on the
But
market.
there's a lot of things.
Some of them have cushions, some of them are, hard, flat. You can get a pretty comfortable one, but very, very nice to have.
Yes.
What's it called?
It's like they call it, I think, a telescoping chair. So it's just round like this, and you just pull it out, push it back, and you can make it different levels too. You can go higher or shorter. I have one in my kitchen.
One of you ladies had a question.
Yes.
I had one, but it was answered. Okay.
When it comes to medications, some pharmacies, you can go into them and ask them just to print off the labels. That's what I do, and then I put the labels, and I can usually put them like in little snack size baggies. Yeah, Ziploc bags. And it takes, because I'm on a lot of different medications, and instead of having to carry 17 bottles with me, I have 17 little bags, and it's all right there. I've also taken pictures of my labels, so that that's with me too. Secondly, if you go on a tour, they're wonderful, everything's taken care of, but you come back and you need to rest. Because you are up at 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, so that you can get your breakfast and be on the bus and get where you need to go. They're wonderful, but you're not going to rest while you're on a tour. And this is my little bragging point. I did 5 weeks in Europe with a carry-on bag. It can be done.
One more. This will be the last one here.
Mine's just a comment. Two friends in California that went on a Princess cruise, and he got sick and ended up in the hospital in Russia with major heart problems. He was there 2 weeks. His wife had to stay. They had to medevac him home with a doctor and a nurse, and their bill was over $500,000. So I learned from that never to take less than $500,000 travel insurance. That's just a tip, because it can happen to anyone at any time. That's my tip.
Typically, they don't give me the microphone, so I'm gonna take advantage of it right now. We've talked a little bit, we've heard about plan, right? Everybody, we gotta plan the trip, we gotta plan our finances, but we also need to plan our health, right? Plan what it's gonna look like. So it might be drinking more water prior to, right? Getting used to being hydrated, going to the bathroom more often. Maybe taking that walk you take every morning, it's a little bit longer, so you prepare yourself, your body, and your mind for that big trip you're gonna go on. So it's not quite as exhausting. The other note that I took down was, the WhatsApp for communicating overseas. It's like an app, just like your Sam's Club app, just like your Facebook app. You have a different phone number usually that you communicate with.
No, use
Same phone number? Okay. So one thing that I wanted to bring up is with my children, I have children and we have a code word. So if we're communicating with somebody with all the AI, that they can come and use your voice, use your likeness, there's a code word. So if there's any time that you're thinking, hey, this is uncomfortable, you just ask the other person on the other line what the code word is, and make sure you know you're communicating with who you feel you're communicating with. And the one last thing I think was, I appreciate everybody being here, and this is my time to hand the mic back.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, so as we wrap us up today, I hope you feel inspired, informed, and maybe even a little bit excited about your next adventure. And we have a workshop coming up for you on June 25th. We didn't have time to make a flyer because Chloe's husband was, in rehab. But it's going to be June 25th at 2 p.m. at the Nebraska Real Estate Office. If you're interested in some travel and some group travel where we can travel together, please come. We're going to talk about some different options that are available, and we're actually going to plan some trips together. So you might want to take note of that. June 25th at 2 p.m. And we'll put that in the next email that goes out too. But one thing I've learned through the years is that sometimes the richest memories we have are more important than the things that we have. And and some of those experiences that we share with other people and the places that we go, the people we meet, and those stories that we bring home can be some of our most important possessions. So I'd like to thank our panelists today for sharing everything. Let's give them a big hand. Oh, and the June, if you want to take that state fair trip with us, the cutoff is June 30th, and we only have 16 spots left. It's going to be fun. I've never been to the Nebraska State Fair since it's moved, so I'm looking forward to that. So make sure you'll let us know if you want to go. And we want to thank our educational partners who make these seminars possible for you. And every month, they come here and they provide education and value to you and give you resources. And we're going to invite all of our educational partners to come up so that you can meet them. And as they come forward, we're going to start collecting those evaluations that you guys have been working on. Is everybody done? Hold up your evaluations and we'll pick those up. And with those, that's what we're going to do our drawing for our door prizes.
For my family.
And if you haven't finished it yet, finish it up real quick. Once those have been collected, we're going to draw for the winner. And we're going to let our panelists draw. That on June 25th, the meeting will be at the Nebraska Real Estate Office on 84th and Nebraska Park, where the old highway 2 there, the northwest corner at 2 o'clock. Our team will be there, Chloe will be there, and we'll have some refreshments as well. Okay. And just before you leave, make sure you leave your name badges, okay? Okay, so let's do it fine.
travel, of course. And I've got a little goodie bag here that just has some things hopefully make your summer a little bit more enjoyable, but. Oh, I'm sorry, oh, I thought you meant that. Put that back, sorry.
You guys probably know me by now. I'm Justin with CareTech, the community liaison for Southeast Nebraska. So we help out with at-home non-medical care services. We work a lot with Medicaid, other state programs, partner with the VA, long-term care insurance policy, a lot of stuff. So.
I'm the plan guy. I'm Tristan with Art Global Strategies. We just help people make simpler decisions when it comes to money. And if anything ever comes up, we do give away free financial reviews. If anybody wanted to stress test what they have and have anybody else look for it, we do that for free.
Hello, I'm Becky Sass. I'm with Claire Senior Advisors. We are in Lincoln and Omaha, and I help people find the right senior living community. Independent living, assisted living, or memory care, no cost to the client.
I'm Katie. I'm with Organized by Design. Wendy is in Omaha today, so I'm filling in for her. We are professional organizers and moving specialists, so we will help you with downsizing, purging, organizing, whatever you need. We do a lot of senior moves, so let us know when you need our services.
Well, I think it might be afternoon. Nope, still morning. Okay, well, good morning. I'm Natalie with Visiting Angels. We help our clients in their homes with everyday activities, including everything from personal care, but also homemaking. We do transportation services. We help with cooking and preparing meals. So all of that lovely stuff. And I own the office here in Lincoln, so.
I'm Catherine Spinarski, and I'm the owner and managing attorney at Elder Law of Omaha. We focus estate planning on folks over 55 and help them navigate the cost of long-term care.
Hi, I'm Brenda Soto with Aging Ally, and we are an RN-led navigation company. So we're here to help you navigate healthcare when it gets overwhelming or you feel stressed out about it. We can help you, but, oh, you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? I'll start over. And it's my first time here, so I'm still learning. My name's Brenda Soto. I'm with Aging Ally, and we're a new nonprofit. We help adults and seniors navigate healthcare when things get overwhelming or you're feeling stressed out and you don't know what your next move is. We help you connect the dots and do the research so you can focus on getting better or helping your loved one get better.
Hello everyone, Kay Jeske with Bridge to Better Living. I feel like I've talked to most of you. We help seniors find independent, assisted memory care and long-term care at no cost to you across the state. So we enjoy working with folks, and if you have questions, whether you're planning now or 5 years from now, I always say be proactive. Just ask us. We'd be happy to answer any questions, but it's a tough and challenging world sometimes, and I don't want you to do it alone. So we'll be happy to help you.
My name is Dave Tuttle. I am the Medicare guy, your Medicare guy. Just so you know, I work for a company called American Senior Benefits. We partnered up with over 200 companies to help you with all your needs, and I mean all. If there's a policy or something that you need that would help you, we can do it for you. Okay, so that, you know, we're your big resource. You know, so, and we're just a phone call away. I work on I do house calls. That's what I do. I like to do it. I like to come meet you belly to belly. Some bellies are bigger than others. And just, you know, help you with anything you would be concerned with.
I think I always follow the Medicare guy here. Josh Betterman Law. I focus as well on primarily estate planning and things, just help make sure you and your families have things in order and decisions are made. I've got here something to enjoy the summer breeze, got the wind chime for your free back.
Hi, I'm Bert Quinnell with Alzheimer's. Most of you know about Alzheimer's in general. Lately, there's been a lot of advances in detection and capability, and if you know anybody or yourself, if you have any questions, 212-888-8255 about your status or that you may be afflicted, it's time to get a hold of Alzheimer's and try to find out. There's new blood tests that are coming online. A lot of people talk about they don't want to know if they've got Alzheimer's, and the answer is, yes, you do. And the sooner you get detected, the sooner you get treatment, the better off you're going to be in the long haul for you and your family. The 27th of September at the old Vets Hospital is the annual walk fundraiser. Now's the time to put together your teams and start fundraising. It's a lot of fun, enjoyment, a good day. I've got a package here to help celebrate 4th of July. Doug McCallum here at St. Mark's. I put on big events, got a concert coming, and we have I do also day trips. We've got a 56 passenger bus. So we're going out to Hickman, out to the Nebraska Community Playhouse out there, and we've got 2 free registrations to go with us.
Barb McKillop, I am with Savvy Aging. We help you find the resources to age in place. So, and some of the resources are standing in this room. So, you know, if you need help with something, we're kind of that one-stop place where you can call and we can hook you up with who you need to be with.
All right, well, thank you guys for having us. I'm Laura with Archwell Health, and this is Jose. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Archwell Health, but if you're not familiar, we are primary care doctors for seniors over the age of 60 with Medicare Advantage. We take different plans, so come see us if you are needing a primary care doctor. We do offer same-day appointment, transportation if needed, longer appointments with your doctor, and a lot of preventive medicines to keep you out of the hospital. So keep us in mind in the future just in case if you do need a primary care doctor or if you know anybody that's needing a primary care doctor. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Rose Lyle with Nebraska Real Estate Specialty Group, and we're a team of agents with, you saw Jason with the microphone, Alicia that moderated, TJ's normally here, and we work with Nebraska Realty, and we can help you if you need to downsize, you want to move to a community, you need to be able to clear out your house, declutterize, estate sales, just about anything that, you know, the 55+ community would have a need for, we're able to help you with, but especially downsizing or moving. So give us a call.
Okay, thank you, everybody. And let's give our educational partners a big round. So if you enjoyed today's seminar, please invite your friends to join us next month. And we're going to talk about selling your house. And it's a little bit different when you get older. Our seminars are always free. They're educational. They're open to anyone. And remember, life doesn't stop just because we're getting older. And in many ways, this can be the most rewarding chapter of our life. We've done the work, right? Now it's time to play and have fun with our grandkids and those people that we love. So thanks for being here with Savvy Seniors. Safe travels and keep making those memories, and we're going to see you next month. We're going to have our panelists here make some friends. And so the first one will be clothes, travel bags. She's got the cutest bags. Okay, Wanda, where's Wanda? Oh, there you are. Oh, and look. Okay, who's next? Okay, go ahead. Pull one, Karen.
Me? Yeah, get that one. We're just drawing now. What?
Oh, Rebecca Grooms. Rebecca. Okay. Okay, next one. Tristan, you want to pull somebody? Justin. Justin, Tristan, kind of sounds the same. Candace Miller. Where's Candace? Is she still here? Okay, next one. Jason, you want to pull one?
Nope.
Okay, club. Go ahead. Doris Wagner, or Dora? Okay, all right. Okay, Karen? Claire Freeman. Clarice. Okay. Sandy Cooper. Okay, Sandy's over there. Oh, you get the pretty little smiley plant, that's really cute. Okay, and the next one? Jeannie Heim. Where's Jeannie? Are you still here, Jeannie? Okay, great, okay. Go ahead and get one. Sharon Kelly. There's a lot of Sharons. Sharon Kelly, there she is. Susan Nagel. Susan, over there. Karen Carr. Karen, where are you? Karen, where's Karen? Karen still here? Did Karen leave? I think she might have left. Okay, pick somebody else. Chloe's, her?
Eloise.
Oh, Eloise, her? Okay, sorry about that. And Linda Rapini? Linda, okay. She's a first-time attender. And Butch Hopkins, where's Butch? Back there. Okay, we got 2 left, okay? E. Thayer, what is E? Is that Ed? What does E stand for? Okay. And the last one, Joanne Kaufman. Okay. All right, we have a lot of lucky people in the room today. Thank you all for being here.